Today is Wednesday, October 2nd, and we are starting a brand new module today. Just like I told the fourth graders, you are going to have your Module 1 big, fat workbook packet in your Panda folder tomorrow. Don't throw it away. You're not done with that math. It's not like you're like, oh, I took the test, I'm done. I don't need to worry about this math anymore. Absolutely not, because everything we're going to do is going to build upon that math, okay? And on your CASP test, on your 6th grade math placement test, do you think that they might draw from those materials? Absolutely. So keep it in a safe place. You don't need to carry it with you everywhere you go. Like, oh, here's my Module 1 math. I have it ready to go in my pocket. No, no, no. Just keep it in a safe place at home, okay? But today we are going to start Module 2, Lesson 1. And today's learning goal is pretty simple, actually. I'm going to be honest with you. We are going to use what we know about place value, which is what the focus of Module 1 was, and we're going to use it to help us multiply whole numbers by multiples of 10. You're like, Miss O, I know how to do this. I just add zeros at the end. Maybe, but we're going to see why, and you have to be able to explain how it works, okay? If we have the math problem, 43 times 30, we can start by writing it down. Then we could think to ourselves, that is 43 ones times 3 tens. Do you guys agree? Is 30 equal to 3 tens? If I think about that in unit form, is that 3 tens? Good. So that's the same as 43 times 3 tens. Do you guys agree? Because I can think of it in two parts. I can think of it as the numbers, 43 times 3, 43 times 3, and I can think of it as the units, ones times tens. What's 1 times 10? Tens. Good. Okay. So then the only part I have to figure out is 43 times 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. So the answer is 129 tens. How can I write 129 tens in standard form? Well, I have 129, and I need this to be in the tens place, so there must be a 0 at the end. So the answer is 1,290. Okay. Let's think about it in another example. We have 430 times 30. Well, that's the same as 43 tens. Do you guys agree? Times 3 tens. Do you guys agree? Okay. Well, I already know that 43 times 3 is 129 because I just did the math, right? But let's look at the units. What's 10 times 10? So if I have tens and I'm multiplying it by tens, what units will I then be in? Hundreds. Okay, so the answer is 129 hundreds. How do I write that in standard form? Well, I have the numbers 129, and now I need the rightmost digit. What is my rightmost digit? What? No, what is my rightmost digit? 9. It needs to be in the hundreds place. Right now, what place is it in? So how do I make it in the hundreds place? Okay, if I add 1 0, now what place is it in? Now what place is it in? So that's how I write it in standard form. That's 129 hundredths. Do you guys see that? Okay. Let's look at the last example. I have 4,300 times 300. Well, that's the same thing as, I still have 43, right? But this time it's 43 what's? How do I know that 4,300 is the same thing as 43 hundredths? Well, because my last digit here is in the hundredths place. And times 3 hundredths, right? Good. Okay, well, I already know that 43 times 3 is 129. Good. If I have 100 times 100, what do I have? Is it 100 times 100? Yeah. Is it?
10,000.
What is it?
10,000.
How do I write that in standard form? Well, I have 129, and the 9 now needs to be in the what's place?
10,000.
Okay, so I'm going to start adding zeros. Right now it's in the what's place?
Tens.
Tens. Now it's in the?
Hundreds.
Now it's in the?
Thousands.
Now it's in the?
10,000.
Okay, so my answer is 1,290,000. The next thing we need to talk about is we need to review some properties. Properties means rules that always apply when you're adding or multiplying numbers. These are properties of addition or multiplication. You should have learned about all of these before, so this is a review. Okay, so I'm going to move quick. The first one's called the commutative property of addition. They're all of addition or multiplication. Okay? The word commute means to move from one place to another. Your parents commute from home to work. They move themselves from home to work. You commute from home to school. Sometimes you commute from school to after school. When you do that, you're commuting. You're moving from one place to another. So what the commutative property of addition or multiplication means is that you can move numbers from one location to another and it will still be equal. What I mean by that is at first I had 1, then I added 2. That's the same thing as 2 plus 1. Does that make sense? Another way to think about that, because it always applies to addition or multiplication. So I could say 3 times 4 equals
4 times 3.
4 times 3. It means moving the order of the addends or the factors around will not change the value. That's the commutative property. Again, I'm telling you, commute means to move from one place to another, because you're going to need to memorize what these properties are. Okay? The next one's called the associative property of addition or multiplication. When you associate with someone, you are grouped with them. Like if I associate a lot, if I'm associated with Taya, maybe we're really good friends, people always think of me and her together. We're grouped together. I'm associated with Stockelmeyer because I teach at Stockelmeyer. So when people think of Stockelmeyer, they think of me. Okay, does that make sense? When you're associated with someone, you're grouped together. What that means is if you have two numbers grouped together, let's say with parentheses, and you have only addition or multiplication, I can change what numbers are grouped together, and it will not change the value. At first, 1 and 2 were grouped together. On the other side of the equal sign, 2 and 3 are grouped together. Does the value change? No. This only works when you are using only addition or only multiplication. Okay? This also works with multiplication. Okay, so if we have, for example, 2 times 6 first, and then I want to multiply that by 3, that's going to be the same as if I multiply 2 and then I put 6 and 3 together in the same group. Okay, so associative property means you can change which numbers are grouped together. Because when you're associating with someone, you're in a group together. Okay. Last but not least, the distributive property says when you multiply a number, let's say I have 3 times 6 plus 2, I have to multiply 3 times 6. I have to distribute it. I have to pass it out equally to both groups. So that's going to equal 3 times 6 plus 3 times 2. I have to multiply both parts of that by the factor. I have to distribute it equally to all parts. So I can say that this statement right here is true because the commutative property shows that 5 times 7 is the same thing as 35, and 10 times 10 is the same thing as 100. Does that make sense? Very good.